Pick it up. Hear my voice. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah. Here we go. Play my games like pick it up.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Casual Wrestling Community Show. I am your host, the Notorious Nerdy D, and I am joined tonight by the co-host of this show, Level Up Lauren.
What's up, y'all?
Each and every week, we talk the best and worst of pro wrestling. Whether you're listening on podcast networks or watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe and hit the little bell notification icon because we're starting to put out other content that you might just see kind of splattered throughout the week. And leave us a comment on this episode. As you can see right now, we are vertically situated tonight. If you absolutely hate it, let us know and we'll switch back. But this is actually just easier, and I figured most people watch podcasts on their phone.
Yeah,
most people aren't watching this on their television. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are. I know I consume 90% of my content on my phone, so this YouTube kind of plays better with this. It likes, and then it's easier to cut the clips and not have to do a bunch of editing. So if you absolutely hate this, let us know, and we'll go back to the other way around. But if it's okay that like I'm just on top, knocking down on the bottom, then we're gonna go from there. All right, you got questions for me? We're gonna stick with the Q&A format. People liked it. I liked it. It makes it way easier for me to communicate what I'm thinking, and also you don't get the same thoughts and coming out of my head. I get to kind of, when you throw a question at me, it allows me to like access a different part of my brain.
Okay.
So what do you have for me this week?
Okay, so we know that Theory has teased both Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns about chasing the Money in the Bank briefcase at SummerSlam. The question is, what is the right time for him to cash in the briefcase?
Okay, so I saw this question. I saw you wrote this question on the document earlier. And weirdly enough, I came up with, I have a theory. Someone said I say the word theory wrong.
Theory.
What the fuck am I doing wrong? Theory. What am I saying wrong?
Is it theory?
It's theory. Fuck them. It's theory.
Pecan.
So, weirdly enough, I have a theory. And I came up with this the day before yesterday. And it was just after seeing some information that goes, that made me think, right? So stay with me here. Everybody stay with me here. Okay? I'm going to follow a train of thought, and you stay with me, and then you guys at the end, you let me know, do you agree with my train of thought here? Theory, currently 24 years old. Okay? 24 years old. Brock Lesnar was 25 years old and is currently, as far as WWE recognizes, because I believe there's some controversy with Randy Orton being younger than that, but we'll get to that. Brock Lesnar was 25 years old when he became WWE champion. So he's the current record holder for youngest WWE champion of all time. Stay with me here.
Okay.
SummerSlam is July 30th, the end of this month, 2022. Okay? Theory's birthday, August 2nd, 2022. If WWE wants to continue the youngest narrative with Theory, this is the time he has to win the belt. This is it. It's put up or shut up. He either wins it at SummerSlam and he can become the newest, youngest WWE champion of all time, or if he doesn't, like he can't have that moniker after that moment. I guess technically there's probably, I don't know when Brock Lesnar's birthday is, so depending on when Brock won it, there is actually more time. But just from the simple number standpoint of 24 years old versus 25 years old, this will be the last opportunity.
That's crazy. I had no idea that was when Theory's birthday was.
So my theory is that he has to cash in at SummerSlam.
I mean, I'm on board with that theory.
And it feels like it's the right time at this point. Roman's 1 foot out the door. He's not there every week. Theory's a guy who could take the belt. He'll defend it week in, week out. I think there's enough heat on Theory that like he gets enough of a reaction that even if it's a negative reaction for him being champion, he'll still generate. We were at Monday Night Raw last week and he generates heat. Like
I don't know
People
why people
dislike
hate on him. I love him.
He's a good bad guy.
I agree.
He's a good bad guy.
That's why I like
He's
him.
good at being bad, and more so than a lot of heels who, even when they're bad, generate a little bit of a cheer. He's just good at being bad. I think people. Oh, he makes these funny faces. Yeah, I think
the
that's
whole
all
thing.
by design. But here, let me go a step further on the theory.
Theorize me.
We don't know for sure. Like, nobody has clarified on television, and nobody's clarified to me the contract inside that briefcase. Does that stipulate a shot at both titles, or does it stipulate a shot at one of the two titles? Because I could foresee it going this way. I could see SummerSlam, Roman, Brock, they're beating the life out of each other. Boom, they're both down. Theory comes out, cashes in. However, and he ends the night holding both titles up, okay? Ends the night holding both titles up. He assumes he's won both belts. Monday Night Raw, the following night, Paul Heyman comes out and he brings Adam Pearce and he tells the WWE that contract was only for one of two belts.
Ooh.
That contract was not for the undisputed title. That contract could only justify Theory taking one title away from Roman Reigns. So I believe that at Monday Night Raw, we will see Roman Reigns walk away. He'll get a rematch of sorts, maybe at Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, and he will challenge for the Universal Championship. And he will win the Universal Championship back from Theory, and Theory will be left only as WWE champion, and we will once again get the title split up, which is what they need to be.
That's actually
It
pretty
didn't make
genius.
sense, because then Roman Reigns can move forward. He can move on. He gets to go do whatever he's going to do at Clash at the Castle with Drew McIntyre. Because let's get this straight. I don't think they're doing Drew McIntyre and Theory at Clash at the Castle.
No.
Like, everybody in England hasn't been waiting for that match. They're waiting for Roman and Drew McIntyre. So in some form or fashion, I think Roman goes into that event with a belt.
Yeah.
But I could see Theory walking out with the other belt. And then you've got Dolph Ziggler, right? You've got guys like Dolph Ziggler waiting. You've got Brock Lesnar, who will continue that feud in some form or fashion, especially now that Theory is the new youngest champion. There might be a rift there between him and Brock. And you got Seth Rollins. Lots of people on Monday Night Raw ready to take on that spot. And it just, like, we need belts back on television.
Yeah.
Like, Monday Night Raw desperately needs a title, a major title back on that television show, which then leads to, like, the opportunity. Are the Street Profits going to take the tag team titles? Like, are these titles going to get split up at some point? Is this the beginning of the end for the head of the table and the bloodline? Like, is this it? Is this where it all starts to fall apart? Because let's say the Usos lose their titles, and Roman loses at least one of the two titles. This could be that moment, and it seems like this is the right time to begin the downfall of the bloodline. Like, we're going on to 700 days. How many days has
That's
it
a
been?
good point. So you definitely think that if Roman loses the title, then the Usos are going
I don't think
to follow?
definitely. No. I don't think that has to be a must, but I do think it creates a weird energy if the Usos are the Universal Tag Team titles, whatever you call them, undisputed tag team title champions.
Yeah.
But then Roman has no belt. That's a weird energy. If they lose it all in one night, the meltdown will be spectacular. The following night, or SmackDown, where Paul Heyman comes out and the bloodline are just livid and pissed off, and they're destroying things and they're going crazy. Then you have Brock Lesnar on the other hand, who's pissed off, destroying things, and you have Theory, kind of this little weasel running around with the belts like, I did it.
He's great at that.
I mean, it's perfect. It
He
works.
antagonizes people and he gets a reaction. That's what I love about him.
And I think that's the story that has to happen.
Yeah.
We can't continue with Roman not showing up. We
No.
can't. Not with both belts. If they want to do it with one belt, that's fine. If they wanted to have on SmackDown every third week Roman shows up and we're supposed to fucking act like it's a big, like, dude, 3 months ago Roman was there every week. Now we're supposed to act like it's a big deal when he shows up. But it's honestly just kind of like, this is bullshit. Get the belt off of Roman. And I'm a Roman guy.
Yeah.
But it's time. It's time. If he's 1 foot out the door in Hollywood, it's time to take the belt off of him. At least one of them. Let's put it on Theory and let's see what the fuck happens when Austin Theory becomes a champion. So much talent to work with on Monday Night Raw.
It was a great Raw.
I mean, can you imagine? You got Theory Seth Rollins. You got Theory Riddle. You got Theory Kevin Owens. All of these are potential. Theory Brock Lesnar. These are potential matchups. Theory Montez Ford. I just look way
That
into the
could be a
future
good one.
with the athleticism that's involved. Like, that's the future of Monday Night Raw, and I think it's in good hands. Let's get split these belts up. Figure out a way to do it. I
It's
just
time.
gave you the path to do it. It's time. We pretended that it really meant something to have a universal champion. What it meant was that I guess you just fucking go do your own thing. We don't like it. Split the belts up.
Yes, sir.
What else you got for me?
All right, so this one's from one of our regular listeners, and this is Ian from Northern Ireland.
What up, Ian?
He wrote in a question, and it is, when Kevin Owens finishes up business with Ezekiel, what will be next for him on Raw?
Okay, so first off, with Kevin Owens, I think the first problem is, where the fuck is he?
I don't know.
Where did he go? And like, how injured is Kevin Owens? Because I read conflicting reports. I read reports that say, no, Kevin's fine. He's just not showing up right now. But that's kind of put a hamper on Zeke's ability to really, like, the Zeke character was taking off, and now it's just kind of become a character that shows up. Kevin Owens made that happen.
Yeah.
Secondly, with this, like, I'm not ready for this Zeke and KO thing to be over anytime soon.
like 'em.
I'm not ready for this to come to an end. I think that through SummerSlam, we can continue it. Through Clash at the Castle, we can continue it. We can continue this all the way to Survivor Series. And I am a proponent for a Team KO versus Team Zeke Survivor Series. This is the show where they go 5-on-5. Two teams compete against each other. And now that the brand split's all fucked up, I don't think that the teams need to come from two different brands. I think that you could go Team KO, Team Zeke, and here's the twist. Here's what I want to see. Here's how I'm setting it up. I'm playing Fantasy Booker again. Okay, so we got Team KO and we got Team Zeke. And on Team Zeke, we have Zeke and we have Elias on the same team.
But how can they be on?
Just wait for this. Okay? So here's how we set it up. It's Survivor Series. They do all the camera magic where they're in the locker room talking to each other. But then Zeke goes, all right, I'm going to go get something. As he's walking, boom, Kevin Owens beats him up. Just knocks him down in the back, takes him out. So he's taken off on a stretcher, and it looks like he's in an ambulance, and they're getting ready to take him out. So then Elias comes out to the ring.
Okay.
And they start the match 4-on-5. Okay.
Yeah.
And at some point in that match, first or second, Elias gets eliminated by Kevin Owens. And he tells, hey, bye,
Okay.
get out of here, Elias. He goes to the back. Well, that gives him time. Rip the beard off, change clothes, come back. Right? So about 3/4 through the way of the match, we cut to the back and we see the ambulance and we see the doors fly open, and it's Zeke ripping off the cords and the cables, and Zeke comes flying out, and Zeke finishes off Kevin Owens
That
for the
would be
win.
freaking awesome, bro.
And then Kevin Owens gets up and he's like, what the fuck? I just fought both Zeke and Elias. Then coming out of that, Kevin Owens is now a believer, and we start a new tag team that is Zeke, Kevin Owens, and or Elias
Dude, that'd
every
be
week.
awesome.
It can switch. It's like the New Day. But Kevin never sees them at the same time.
I have a question, though.
Go for it.
Where's Elrod?
I don't like the Elrod thing. That's a little much. Like I hope we could just kind of walk back
And
the
pretend
Elrod
like Elrod
stuff.
never
Yeah,
happened?
like I don't like the fact,
Just
like
pretend like it didn't happen.
doing this with 3 different people gets very difficult. But I do like the idea of Elias and Zeke being in the same match, and Elias being eliminated, being sent to the back. When he gets to the back, he can pull the equipment off, pull the beard off, change clothes, come out of the ambulance and be Zeke and win the match. And then just for fun, I think that, yeah, Kevin Owens should start a tag team, kind of like the New Day, where they rotate. And it's always either Zeke or Elias. And like, they never align at the same time. He's always just missing the other one. Like, oh man, Kevin, you just missed Elias.
Yeah. That would be pretty cool.
And he like starts to buy into it. I
So,
think that
would you be Team KO or Team Zeke?
I don't think you have to pick a team, because I think that like the fun in that is the craziness. But I'm KO. I love Kevin Owens.
Okay.
Kevin Owens makes everything better. And that's why I say, like, I don't think it's even until like January, Royal Rumble, that we get anything different from Kevin Owens other than this. And I love this. I think let's let this run its course all the way through Survivor Series, and then give them a run at the tag team titles. By then the tag team titles should kind of I'm assuming the Street Profits are next. Unless they're breaking up, then I don't know who's next to get a run with the tag team titles. But hey, man, Kevin Owens and Zeke. Kevin Owens and Elias. I like it.
I like it too.
But that's the curse of being Kevin Owens. It's to me, it's a gift and a curse. And this kind of leads to a bigger problem I think that we as wrestling fans have is we place a lot of prestige on the titles, but the titles don't really matter. Kevin Owens is so good at not having a title that he doesn't need a title, and that WWE knows he doesn't need a title. So they don't have to, they know there's a comfort with Kevin Owens. You don't have to put him in the title match for him to be exciting. He can come out and do a bit with Kevin Owens and everybody loves him, right? He can come out and just have a regular match and everybody loves him. And I guess as a fan, we all go, oh, this guy needs to be champion. But like, nah, this man just needs to get a paycheck. And if they're going to pay Kevin Owens what he deserves to be paid, at that point, what do you care if you're carrying the belt?
So this leads me to something we kind of talked about last week was, would you say Kevin Owens is a headliner or a mid-carder?
He's main event. Kevin Owens is main event. And I know last week I hesitated on it, but like when you really think about it, he's just a guy. He's built himself up past the title. And once you do that, then you don't necessarily need the title anymore, and you don't need to be at the end of the show. But there are people, including myself, who watch wrestling, and Kevin Owens is their favorite wrestler. And I saw somebody say this, and I think this was a slightly fair and accurate. If they have a toy that's selling, they're pretty much a main event guy. And Kevin Owens has a toy that's selling.
That is a good way.
If they're being featured in the like. Let's like Kevin Owens, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Fuck what you think. Besides Roman and Brock, that was the biggest match at WrestleMania. He's a headliner.
Oh, it was amazing.
He headlined WrestleMania. Whatever happens in the next 3 months after that, Kevin's in the middle of the show doing stuff with Zeke doesn't make him a mid-carder. He's just that fucking good that WWE goes, Kevin doesn't need a belt. We don't have to put a belt on Kevin for him to feel important.
Yeah.
All right, what else you got for me?
Okay, so our next question is actually from Twitter.
Okay.
And you can follow the show at Notorious Nerdy D on Twitter. Don't forget to check out our TikTok and our YouTube as well. And this is from at Indigo Riot. They asked, was Lacey Evans' heel turn a desperation play by WWE to save her character?
I don't think so. I don't think it was, to be honest with you. You think it was I think it was planned. If I go back and look at this from the very beginning, it's never made fucking sense.
You think it was planned from the beginning?
Yes. I think all along that they planned on her being a heel. I don't think, like, they had to know after the first couple promos, and we talked about it on this show, like, I don't fucking get it. Like, what is this? The women empowerment thing never felt.
But, can I say something?
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually on the opposite thought of it. Like, I think that they thought they were going to get a pop from the women empowerment thing, like women are empowered and blah, 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 whatever. And when they got no crowd reaction, at that point, they were like, dude, we got to do something. Like,
so if you look at SmackDown's roster, there's no heels in the women's division. There's none.
Mentioned that before.
There's none. Natalya is the lone heel. Literally feels like when you have a good guy, Natalya's got to be the bad guy. So I feel like they knew they had to develop another heel. And I honestly think that they did it through a path of like, let's make her seem like the crowd is embracing her. Then all of a sudden, let's have her turn on the crowd. Because that's the easiest way to make a heel, right? They did it right by having her come out and go, wait, you're not cheering loud enough. And she went back and came out again. And she goes, that's still not loud enough. And then she turned on Aaliyah. I think that had to be planned from the beginning. Maybe they were testing to see if they could get a reaction, like a face reaction out of her. But like, if you start looking at that roster, the SmackDown roster, Raquel is an up and coming face.
Yeah.
Liv just won the title, is a face. Most of the women on SmackDown are face. Ronda is currently a face. So
you have Charlotte Flair, who's not there right now.
But she's not there right now, and she will be a heel when she comes back, or will she? Right? That's the question. Because
is Charlotte Flair a heel?
She is a heel. She definitely is. In her last run was a heel, but I think Charlotte is just as good. I have listed right here. Look, if you look at the faces on SmackDown, it's like Shotzi, Raquel. Who else did I say? Ronda, Liv. four faces and you got Natalya. They can't all fight Natalya every week, and like Shayna Baszler. And I guess Sonya Deville floats back and forth, but it feels like they had this in mind. My bigger question is kind of alluding to what you said. Is like, I don't even know if people are going to react to Lacey as a heel long term. Can she keep up the heel long term? Can she just come out and shit on the crowd every week? It's the same thing I say about like Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan can't come out and continue to cut the promo. How excited I am to be champion.
When I was 4 years old, I held this belt.
I don't know how long Lacey Evans can come out and go, you guys don't cheer me enough and I deserve to be cheered. I think that works better than it does for Liv, but it feels to me like Lacey's going to develop go away heat. Like the crowd just like we don't want to see you. Please go away.
Yeah.
But another question I have too is with all the talent on the women's roster, how do we only have 2 titles? How is this a thing? Like, how is there only 2 titles for all of this talent? We have Shotzi, Lacey, Raquel, Alexa, Asuka, Rhea Ripley, and then 2 titles. I said Alexa Bliss. But we have, there's so many people who could pair off and be tag teams. I can name you 4 tag teams right now. Put Shotzi and Alexa Bliss together, that's a merchandise seller, right?
Hell yeah.
Asuka and Raquel Rodriguez, that's 2 fan favorites that the crowd will get behind. Sonya Deville and Lacey Evans, we love to hate those 2.
I agree. I think that would be a great match because...
not match.
No, I'm saying like match them
up.
together.
Yes,
match up together because I actually like Sonya Deville and it may give some likability to Lacey.
Well, Sonya's a good bad guy. And then you already have Doudrop and Nikki Ash. Hey, WWE, there's your tag team tournament.
Do it.
There's your tournament. There's 4 teams with people who have nothing going on currently. You don't have anything going with Alexa Bliss. You don't have anything really going for Asuka and Raquel. You don't have anything going for Sonya and Lacey Evans. Let's get those belts out of the closet. I know Sasha and Naomi tarnished them a little bit, but let's wipe them off. Let's put them back on the table and let's have this tournament you talked about like 6 weeks ago. But here's the talent. It all exists. I petitioned for this big, massive tournament. At this point, I'll take a 4-team tournament.
Go for it.
You've got 2 weeks before SummerSlam. That's fucking perfect. 1 match this week, 1 match next week, and they face off at SummerSlam.
That would be pretty cool.
All right, what else you got for me?
All right. So, I did it again.
All
right. Okay. So after 3 weeks now of the Judgment Day picking on Rey and Dominic, and literally no direction that the group is headed in other than recruiting Dominic Mysterio, can we officially say that the Judgment Day was a flop?
Yes. Yeah.
That was short and simple.
Yes, I mean, and I'll go into, but yes, the Judgment Day is a flop. The Judgment Day had so much potential.
Mm-hmm. I was excited for it.
Everybody was excited for it, and now it's a flop. Look, after all of the rumors that came out, right? All the dirt sheets said Edge bailed on this group because WWE wanted the Judgment Day to have supernatural powers. Where the fuck are these powers at? I'm still waiting.
I agree.
I'm still waiting for somebody to do some magical shit. Because right now, the only magical thing they do is bore me. That's it. I get it. I get Rhea Ripley got hurt. She got hurt. That's unfortunate.
But do you think losing her was that big of a deal?
Was the entire group predicated on the success of Rhea Ripley? I'm with you. How does that affect the 2 men in the group? I don't understand. I understand that she's not there, but was this whole story dependent on her fighting Bianca Belair? Because now it just seems like they're completely lost. And now it seems like their only goal when they wander around is to recruit other wrestlers into a group that if you asked me, if you were like, hey man, you want to join the Judgment Day? I'd be like, why the fuck would I want to join the Judgment Day? What do you guys got going on?
That was awesome.
You show up on Main Event every other week and now you're fighting the Mysterios. Like, what is the big deal? And they're out here trying to fucking recruit the misfit wrestlers off the fucking Misfit Island. Like Dominic Mysterio. I'll double down on Dominic Mysterio. He's he's nothing to be excited about. I talked shit about Dominic Mysterio last week and I said what the truth is. People can't be objective. I said nobody likes Dominic Mysterio, right? Mm-hmm. and the duets started again. Because we opened up duets in our video,
did
and the
it?
duets
Did
started
not see
again.
it.
And you know what I can't stand? I can't stand duets where someone doesn't present an opposing opinion.
Yeah.
Present an opposing opinion, and that's cool. I listen, and a lot of times I learn. I can't fucking stand when someone makes a TikTok about a video we made and they just do this. Go fuck yourself. If you don't have anything to
Get
add,
your own opinion, bro.
like say something. Like Dominic Mysterio here. You want some fucking factual information, guys? All you Dominic Mysterio fans, let me ask you a question. How many fucking Dominic Mysterio shirts are y'all wearing? Go to WWE.com. You don't really have to, but
I was
everybody
gonna
listening.
go,
How many Dominic Mysterio shirts you think are on the website?
None. Zero, right?
Who the fuck else in the WWE does not have a t-shirt right now? You know what comes up?
Doudrop even has one.
You know what comes up when you search Dominic?
No,
The
Ray.
fucking hoodie that just says Mysterios. You know how many shirts Rey Mysterio has?
Like-
9. He has 9 fucking shirts, and we can't get one for Dominic? What does that tell you, people?
That they don't think he's gonna sell merch because nobody likes him.
Nobody wants to buy a Dominic Mysterio shirt. So when you guys all raise your hand and go, "Hey, I like Dominic," why aren't y'all go fucking get your puffy paints out and make yourself a Dominic Mysterio shirt? I better see like 10 fucking homemade Dominic Mysterio shirts on TikTok next week. Cause if not, y'all are fucking liars. Don't tell me Dominic Mysterio needs time. Oh, he hasn't had a chance. He's been in the WWE going on, I think, his 3rd year now.
Then move him back down.
That's definitely someone duetted us with a logical response that I loved. That was, look, Dominic Mysterio can be saved. Here's how you do it. And it was this well thought out plan of moving him back to NXT and rebuilding his character. And I loved it. I say things in a fucking hyper way, right? I overreact.
Yeah.
I say it very overreactive. That's what I do. He broke it down, gave me legitimate. And I go, yeah, no, man, you're fucking right. That's what you do. That's exactly right. Should have played the video. But don't give me this shit that he's only 25. Look, man, Theory is 24. He's fighting for the WWE Championship, possibly.
Yeah.
You know who else is in 25? Rhea Ripley, someone who's already been a WWE champion, someone who was going to be in a major faction. I've shit all over the faction, but essentially it seemed like the faction was being built around her now.
Yeah.
MJF is 25 years old.
Are they all?
Y'all trying to tell
They don't
me?
seem on the same
Are
level.
y'all trying to tell me that MJF and fucking Dominic Mysterio that they have the same career path? Dominic is not on a career. Like, you have to show potential, and the potential's not even there. I don't even like Jungle Boy. He's 25, but Jungle Boy shows way more potential than fucking Dominic Mysterio. So don't fucking duet me with this bullshit. Fucking, I like Dominic Mysterio. Great, man. And it's okay. Like, cool. I'm glad you like Dominic Mysterio, but go buy the fucking t-shirts. Like, send your email into WWE asking him, why is there no Dominic Mysterio t-shirts?
Start a petition.
Oh man. I mean, I look like NXT people have merch. Everybody has merch. So you guys are telling me, like, this is what you're telling me. If you want to argue that the Judgment Day aren't over, the Judgment Day are about to add Dominic Mysterio. So now we have Damian Priest. We have Finn Balor, who WWE's left out to dry. And we have fucking Dominic Mysterio. And y'all are telling me that's a faction I'm supposed to believe in? You know, hold on, one more thing. You know what could save the Judgment Day?
What?
Do you know I could save the Judgment Day right now? You know what could save the Judgment Day? Give them a seasoned veteran who could give the group direction and credibility. Oh, wait, they had that guy. His name was Edge, and we kicked him out of the fucking group.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, why? And why is Finn Balor not the clear leader of this new faction? And on top of that, why is Finn Balor not the fucking demon in this faction?
Oh, I agree. If
They're supposed to be the scary Judgment Day, yet the dude whose nickname is the Demon is not the Demon. You have Damian Priest, who is clearly set up to be a spooky type character, right? You have Rhea Ripley, who is a darker character. Why is Finn not the Demon?
I have no idea.
Like on a regular basis, why is he not the demon inside of Judgment Day? And why is he not the leader? Did you have a question?
I did. My question was, if Dominic Mysterio was not Rey Mysterio's son.
He would be bullshit. He wouldn't even be in the WWE.
Thank you.
His whole storyline is predicated
Baby
on
boy.
being, it's nepotism, 110 fucking %. He would be, I mean, at best, he would be in NXT, and that's okay. My argument is he's not ready for the spotlight of Monday Night Raw. It's not that he can't wrestle anywhere.
I think that he's actually skilled in his wrestling.
Sure.
He doesn't have like that pizzazz, that it factor, that
He looks
connection.
uncomfortable all the time.
Yeah.
When Logan Paul comes into the WWE at WrestleMania and he looked better in the ring, not just, I get he has more fans, but he looked better. His presence, his outfit, everything about
promos.
Logan, everything about Logan screamed fucking superstar.
Yeah.
And he's what, 28 years old?
Yeah. I looked it up.
He's 28 years old and he doesn't even do this for a living. And he comes into your business and he's able to do what you can't. I'm not going to argue this point. I'm not shitting on Dominic. Dominic's not ready for this. Put him back in NXT. There's no problem with that.
I agree. I
There's
think
nothing wrong with him developing, or fucking put it like I said, let's speed this process up and either give him the Eddie gimmick or give him the Ray gimmick. But quit having him come out and he's literally just fucking Rey Mysterio's son. That is what we have, friends and family that we have gotten into wrestling, and they know Dominic Mysterio now in the last couple weeks just as Rey Mysterio's son.
True.
What you got else?
All right, so we're going to move on to our next question. All right, so we're about 17 days away from SummerSlam, right? That's about 2 weeks, and the card's starting to kind of form and take shape. My question is, I wanted to get your thoughts on what do you think about the SummerSlam card?
So I have the card written down here.
Okay.
I have it written down here.
Okay.
And
I looked it up because I wasn't 100% sure.
what's funny is there was perception and reality. The build up to, we've been watching with your brother and his wife, and we've been watching every Monday Night Raw and SmackDown together as a group. It's been fun. And I've actually been like the hype. I think the room has hyped up the card, and we were like, oh man, let's do it. And then like I sat down and I looked at what was online for the card, and I'm like, I don't know about this. This is supposed to be the second. Remember, this is supposed to be the second biggest event of the year.
Yeah.
Outside of WrestleMania, this is the big show. This is what they do. Last man standing match for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. Again, like we were saying again last time. Again, how many times are we going to like put this as the main event of a show that needs saving? At this point, I tell you, I'm praying that Theory cashes in. Just so that we know this won't happen again for a while. Because I get, like, Roman and Brock individually, they're great. But we all know when they get in the ring together, it's going to be 10 minutes at best. Right? Because, neither one of them's going an hour.
No.
So you're getting a lot of physicality for 10 minutes. They're going to beat the life out of each other, 15 minutes at best. And that's what you're getting out of that main event. And they'll build it up. Paul Heyman will fucking sell it to us. He'll give us the Kool-Aid. We'll drink it. We'll be excited. But like on paper, I go, again, we did this in April. We already did this.
They need to give it to us every 3 months, apparently.
Then I go SmackDown Women's Championship. Liv Morgan, Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
All right, all of these matches, my problem is I go, something else has got to happen. But you can't have that happen in every match. So what happens there? Is that a straight up match? Does Natalya get added to that match? Or is Liv Morgan going to beat Ronda Rousey straight up? Is WWE behind her like that? I mean,
don't
cool.
think so.
If they are, I'm okay with it. Like, let's put if we're going to strap a rocket on Liv's back, let's strap the rocket. I don't think they have the balls to do it. I don't think they're looking at her as long-term champion. The Unified Tag Team Championship, Usos and the Street Profits. they tear the building apart every time they're in the ring together. So I have no worry about this. This is one of those things, I get we see this all the time, but there's so much talent in that ring at one time. Yeah. And Angelo Dawkins has stepped up to another fucking level. So now you have both Usos, which are extremely good in the ring. You have Montez, who I think is a special talent, who will exceed expectations and he'll have a long, amazing career. But I think Angelo Dawkins has kind of like been like, hey man, don't forget about me. I can still do this too.
100% with you on
that. I think he's felt a little bit of disrespect probably coming up from people, even include myself, who go like, Montez is the guy. And he's like, hold my fucking red Solo cup. I'm about to show you some shit. Everybody's guilty of it. And I don't.
But maybe they never featured him enough. So how could we ever know?
It's someone like Angelo has to understand when we talk good about Montez Ford, it has never been to diminish what Angelo Dawkins accomplishes. Montez Ford is just a special talent right now. That's what he is. And I'm all for keeping them together and Angelo being there with Montez as he goes to the top. But I also think that that Angelo has that ability to be a top guy later on as well. I don't know how old he is. That's one thing. So I don't know if they're the same age. I don't know enough information about that. Okay. United States Championship, Bobby Lashley for Theory. I assume Bobby Lashley is going to win this. So what does that do for Theory? I mean, or does he just get disqualified? There's something amiss here. Something's happening. There's a plan that's going to lead to like, oh, that's why Theory cashes in. And then you have Pat McAfee and Happy Corbin, which every time Pat gets in the ring, it's fucking great.
32. He's 32.
Okay, so that's not too old for wrestling.
No,
but he's old.
I mean, well, for men wrestling, I mean, look at all the like stars are all in their late 30s.
I agree, but you're saying look at all the stars, and I don't know he's there yet.
Star level, yeah.
True. So you got to get there quickly. But here's my problem for Pat McAfee, and you got to be realistic. We got to be objective because I love Pat McAfee, huge Pat McAfee fan. But can he replicate the success of WrestleMania? Can you do that twice? Or did he set the bar too high?
I mean, that was pretty epic, bro.
Right? And it's I'm not trying to take anything away from him because I believe everything he does at the highest level to fucking impress. He's like a gladiator, right? He wants to impress the crowd. But sometimes, not even knowingly, you set a bar so high that people even remember, like, I don't even know what the match was. I just remember how good he was. And can he if he does another shooting star press, is that enough? Right? Like, he's got to do something even fucking crazier this time for us to remember him. I believe you're right.
That's the type of person that he is.
I do believe you're right, but I just, like, that's my fear is, did he set the bar too high? It looks, I assume we're done with Carmella and Bianca Belair, or has that been announced? I don't know.
But
it feels to me like we're getting Becky Bianca again after Monday Night Raw.
I would like that more. Personally, when we saw it in person, there just was not like the fire there.
Becky has to be involved.
Exactly. If she was not sitting there, it would have been a completely boring match.
It's one of those things, man. It's one of those things that, like, I love Bianca, but it's starting to look like that Bianca's benefiting from Becky coming out and generating some energy in her matches, right?
Yeah.
She comes out and she watches. She comes out, she gets on the commentary, which is cool, right? That means Becky's willing to kind of assist in her title run. Here's what I go. I play fantasy booker again. I have Bianca and I have Becky one-on-one. Becky fucking smash. Right off the bat, 18 seconds, 17 seconds, just like last year's SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Right after that, Bayley's music hits. Bayley gets into the ring face to face with Bianca Belair because that's who she was originally supposed to fight at last year's SummerSlam before she got injured and they switched in Becky Lynch. And so then they can pick up where they left off from last year's SummerSlam.
That'd be pretty epic.
I think that generates the biggest talking point.
Yeah.
Is if I kept trying to associate Bayley with SmackDown, but I don't think they need her right now. I think that Bianca Belair is most in need of Bayley. She needs a big bad guy to kind of rise her up to that next level. And I think Bayley can do that for her. But yeah, I mean, you got to assume there's more matches in this, right? There's got to be a couple more things going on. But this is the meat and potatoes when you start looking at it. Probably Gunther will be on the card somewhere, right? You think?
I have no idea, honestly, for
He's
the
a
rest
champion.
of it. I mean, I think this next week we'll probably be telling something
This
exciting
kind of
going to
looks
happen
like the
because
bastard cousin of fucking WrestleMania, which I don't love because you go like, is Pat McAfee Corbin better than or as good as Pat McAfee Theory? It's had a little bit of build up, but it hasn't had enough. We got 2 weeks. I'm not gonna panic. We've got 2 more weeks. Let them flush this thing out. We've got, I think, 3 SmackDowns and 2 Raws before we have to really assess this card.
yes, sir.
All right, what else you got?
Okay, so this question comes from Marcus Floyd on TikTok. Make sure you follow us on TikTok at Notorious Nerdy D. He asked, Notorious, I know you're not a huge fan of AEW, but is Kristen Cage reason enough to get you to start watching AEW on a full-time basis?
So I saw this question. I sent it to you. And so I did my research. I go, I've now had 5 or 6 people hit me up and go, have you seen what Christian's doing on AEW? And I want to reiterate, I'm not a fan of AEW. I talk a lot of shit about it, but you get limited time in life. You have limited time with your family, limited time with your friends, your business, your hobbies. So I only dedicate enough time to WWE because that's the wrestling that I enjoy the most. So I'm going to put that's fucking Mondays, that's Fridays, and that's some either Saturdays or Sundays. That's it. 3 days a week is all I can dedicate to wrestling. I can't go NXT on Tuesday, fucking AEW on Wednesday. I'm not doing 7 days a week of this shit. But like, just a little history. Christian is possibly he's top 5 my favorite wrestlers of all time. CM Punk was in there. Christian's in there, which is funny. I hate on CM Punk, but he is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. But Christian's definitely in there. I fucking play his theme song all the time. Everything about Christian, the peeps, the fucking entrance. I when he was world heavyweight champion, that's when I bought my belt. So everything about Christian, I love Christian. And so out of nowhere, he's back and he's making a splash in AEW again. So earlier today, because of this question, I went back and I watched the last 5 episodes of AEW Dynamite, not the entire episodes. Slow down. Just the Christian parts. I just fast forwarded to Christian, watched him. He's fucking amazing. Like, he's good at what he does. And this, I concede 100%. The bad guy work, it's what AEW does better than WWE. They let bad guys be bad guys. But I also get that WWE's playing to a different crowd and bad guys can't be this bad. But all the talk about Jungle Boy's dad being dead and wanting to, like, he tells Jungle Boy's mom, hey, call me. Shit like that's funny. It's
Perry.
Yeah. The new Luchasaurus character is really fucking cool too. He's kind of like a demon dinosaur, right? Now, hold the phone here, AEW people, IWC. You guys talk shit about WWE all the time about like these over-the-top characters. Y'all got demon dinosaur now. You gotta fucking you're gonna have to fucking admit that these characters are what get over. Luchasaurus, very Kane-esque. And I don't say that as a knock, like all of wrestling is recycled, but the new Luchasaurus feels a lot like Kane to me. But all of this, like, having said all of that, the Christian Cage, the Luchasaurus, that none of that is enough to draw me in to dedicate a whole nother day of the week to watching AEW, because AEW to me is still this weird illusion that they try to put on. It's an illusion they're trying to put on. And I say that because I watch it and I got lost in it a little bit, and then I snapped out and I go, how big is Luchasaurus? He's got to be 6'9", 6'10". He's huge. He's a monster.
I'm going to guess 6'3".
He's 6'5", which is still big. Like, yeah. I'm 6'3", so he's 2 inches taller than me.
Not almost big.
He's 6'5", 275 pounds, right? But for context, in WWE, Randy Orton is 6'5".
Oh, wow.
Okay, so
and I think Randy Orton's like average size in WWE.
Exactly. So Randy Orton is billed as 6'5", 250 pounds. So they bill Luchasaurus as a monster, but he's 6'5", 275. Now, he's a big boy. He's a big boy, but he's just kind of a big guy. He's not a monster. The way that, like, the announcers lay into it, but it feeds the illusion of, like, if you just get a bunch of 5'10" wrestlers in the ring, Luchasaurus looks like a fucking monster, right?
Yeah.
So now he's on a warpath, right? Luchasaurus is on a warpath against Jungle Boy, who is 5'10", 167 pounds. What warpath are you on, brother? You're going to murder this man. Like, this man is dead if he comes into contact with you. This man used to ride on your shoulders.
That's true.
And now you're about to beat him up? So the first match that they had this new demon Luchasaurus go against was Serpentico or Serpentaco, some serpent
Okay,
something.
is that the guy with
He's
his little,
5'6".
mask?
He has a mask. I don't know who he is. He's 5'6". So he goes in there and he squashes this guy. But I'm like, once again, are we finding the smallest wrestlers in the world to go against Luchasaurus? It's this illusion. It's like a magic show, right? How do you make someone look bigger? You just put him with a bunch of smaller guys. So I can't get lost in this no matter how good Christian Cage is. And he's been fucking good. Like, once again, it's so good that Tony Khan will probably fucking take him off TV like he did MJF because he's robbing us of our fucking MJF moments here.
That's bullshit.
I understand why certain people like AEW. I really do. And it does feel like the kind of ECW of our time in the fact that, like, yeah, they say a lot of fucked up things, right? They talk about people's parents dying and shit like that, but it's just not for me. I grew up a Division I athlete, so for me, size in sports is extremely important. I understand. I grew up with a bunch of guys who were 5'6" and 5'7" playing basketball. And then you got to the next level, right? You got to Division I, and there were no more of those guys because size is important. And I get, right? This is pro wrestling. But it's still supposed to be a belief that these are gladiators. These guys are larger than Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. When Brock Lesnar picks up Otis and puts him through a table, our fucking jaws drop because we go, that's not possible. I didn't think that was going to happen. When Adam Cole fights against Jungle Boy, it's just two little guys fucking slapping each other. And that's great. There's talent in that. But, like, stop trying to sell me on the idea that these are the best athletes in the world. They're not. And now the fucking IWC's pissed at me again for doing this. Last question.
All right. So now that Roman Reigns' title reign seemingly may be coming to an end, where does Roman rank amongst your all-time WWE champions, and who is next to take the billing as a top guy?
So this was my question. I submitted this question to myself because I thought it was time. I thought this was a legitimate question that has to be asked as you, like, there's no guarantee we're at the end of Roman Reigns' title run, but I think most people would agree, and it's fair to say that if it was a mountain, we're on the back end. Like, we're definitely coming down the hill. We're on the drop. He definitely doesn't have more time as champion as he does. He's 700 days in or something like that.
Yeah, that's like crazy.
And when we're going to talk about, like, where does he fit as the greatest or as a champion in all time rankings, I don't like ranking people from eras that I didn't watch. Okay, so
somebody will throw something crazy. You will remember Blibly Blib.
Well, how are you gonna compare him? Bruno San? Like, I didn't
1930s.
I didn't watch Bruno San Martino. I didn't watch Ric Flair. I didn't watch Macho Man Randy Savage. I honestly didn't watch much Hulk Hogan. So I don't, like, when I start making these lists, it's almost ignorant for me to speak and, like, try to put him on a list. I can go off of, like, what people have told me about Ric Flair, or what the WWE Network has told me about Ric Flair, or like how many championships he's won. But I don't know. Like, I don't know. I can't grasp how big of a deal Ric Flair was when Ric Flair was Ric Flair. Yeah. So I think it's more fair for me to make a list of the greatest champions of modern wrestling. And modern wrestling, I would go as, like, Attitude Era forward, when wrestling kind of changed. And if I'm going to base it on that, I think it's real simple. You go 1A and 1B, The Rock and Stone Cold. They're the greatest champions of all time. And you can flip them either way you want. I'm not going to argue if you put Stone Cold The Rock. I'm not going to argue if you put The Rock or Stone Cold. Interchange them how you like. That's what it is. But then it gets dicey after those two. Because it gets dicey because you have a lot of people like Triple H. They think he was a great champion. A lot of people like Edge think he was a great champion. Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton. They're solid picks, but who fits number 3? Stone Cold, The Rock, who's next? My next 3, in no particular order, and I'm going to work through this here, is it's got to be John Cena, It's got to be The Undertaker to me. And then Roman Reigns, no particular order, because I can make an argument for or against all three of those guys. I can make an argument for The Undertaker or against The Undertaker. Against The Undertaker, I'll tell you, I had this kind of epiphany the other day was, when was The Undertaker ever the guy? Like the guy in wrestling. He was always a big deal, but he's never been the main event. The John Cena, Stone Cold, The Rock, he was always second fiddle to these guys. And not even second fiddle, he was just an alternate choice, but he's never been the guy. He's never, I don't know, like someone can look this up for me, but has Undertaker ever closed out a WrestleMania?
I don't know.
It's weird to me.
Let us know.
Typically I saw him in the middle of the card, which, like I said, doesn't devalue what you do, but I can't think of a time that The Undertaker was the guy. He was one of the guys. During the Attitude Era, there was a run where it was, Stone Cold, Triple H, Mankind, Undertaker, Rock. But I don't think there was a time that he ever kind of put the company on his back like John Cena did, like Roman Reigns has done.
Yeah.
And then you go Cena. The argument I make against Cena is he's, for me, and people, I will dispute this and I won't even argue with them, but to me, he was a little redundant and corny for my liking as a champion. He has moments that were amazing, but he also has moments that were just kind of like, okay, that's a little too much. If I'm doing like a career overall achievement list, it's not a discussion. Cena's at the top of this list. I'm not gonna make the argument, but I know it's unpopular, but I think Roman Reigns, based just on the sheer amount of days, it's 679 at this point. It's officially 679 days that he has been the Universal Champion. And I think based on that and the fact that he's an undisputed champion, he's carrying both belts for both shows, I think he's the third greatest champion of the modern time. And I know I'm going to get destroyed for that, but Undertaker, I just don't think his title runs weren't that strong, to be honest with you. And Cena, his longest run was 380 days as a champion. Like Roman's almost doubled that. Almost. I mean, it's pretty close to the 679 to 380. It's about 300 more days. That's a whole year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Outside of the Stone Cold and The Rock, like Roman Reigns is, to me, the greatest modern day champion. I don't think Cena was even ever an undisputed champion. And there's been points in time in the WWE lifespan that there have been, like Jericho was an undisputed champion. Brock Lesnar was an undisputed champion. But I don't think Cena's ever been an undisputed champion, which is interesting to me. Now, as for who I think the next guy to kind of carry that moniker, the guy will be, it's so impossible to predict, right? You got Theory, you've got Madcap. I think Madcap has the potential because I see a lot of John Cena in Madcap. You have Braun Breaker, who I think is a little bit undersized. I know people are big on him, but I think Braun Breaker's a little undersized. Then you have this kid named Parker Bordeaux, and he's not in wrestling, but he's a guy that Paul Heyman pointed out, and I looked him up. This is fucking Brock Lesnar 2.0. This kid looks like he could be Brock Lesnar's son or younger brother, whichever version you want. But like, this kid looks like the real deal. And so he's a Division I football player, and they're saying if he doesn't go to the NFL, he's a shoo-in for either WWE or AEW. Yeah. So keep an eye on that kid. But I mean, if you had to ask me who's the next guy, it's Cody, right? Cody's going to come back, and I don't know how long, but I think Cody Rhodes is someone who respects the business enough that he's not going anywhere anytime soon. So how old is Cody? 37, 38 years old, right?
I can look it up.
Yeah, I mean, you could wrestle easily into your 40s. So the next 5 or 6 years could be the Cody Rhodes era. I believe that's possible. I believe he'll transition into the next guy.
37. Well, I mean, he could be like Sting and be like 57.
Yeah, but Sting's not that guy. But yeah, that's,
All right.
That's my thoughts this week. You got anything else to add? You want to add any questions you want to throw in at the end here?
I do have one, and I was hoping that you throw it in there. So we watched Carmella fight, right? And I love Carmella. We did a bracket?
Which are you referring to? The ones based on?
They're going to tie it together, but the one we did all 4 of us.
Okay, so we did a bracket fights video that posted up on our YouTube about the most attractive wrestler in WWE female. Okay, right? Go ahead.
And I wanted it to be to Carmella. You wanted it to be Bianca Belair.
I didn't have a. Oh,
You
I
wanted
didn't.
it to be Bianca Belair. Let's
I
not
don't
lie
know
to
that that's
ourselves.
true.
And Bianca Belair won,
Okay.
right?
And I didn't have a vote in this.
You didn't. And
So-
and Craig let me down.
Okay.
Because he did not let Carmella win. But
Okay.
anyways, it's gonna feed into my question.
Okay.
Is after the show, Carmella said that she wanted to be known for
so-
more
okay.
than just her looks.
So what's your question?
So my question is, do you think that is like planned by WWE?
No, I think she's feeling disrespected. I think 100%. I think Carmella 100% is feeling disrespected, and rightfully so. Like if I'm not joking around,
But
Carmella's had some decent accomplishments.
Names herself the most beautiful woman in wrestling. So you therefore are putting the spotlight on your looks, and you're asking to be known for that.
I think that's a little bit of the problem, right? Is that you predicate your whole character on your looks, and then all of a sudden you go, but everybody judges me on my looks. Like you did that. Like
that was my question for you.
Carmella is a mid-level women's wrestler to me.
Beautiful girl. You're so pretty.
Whatever.
All right. I had to
This
throw
has
that in there.
been another episode of the Casual Wrestling Community Podcast on the Casual Wrestling. I think we're going to change the YouTube page to call it the Casual Community. So this is on the Casual Community page. Check out. Next week we're doing a video, or it's this week we're going to do a video on the most attractive male wrestlers, which should be very
Check it out.
interesting.
It will be.
That'll be a bracket battle with your brother and his wife. As always, I am the Notorious Nerdy D. That is Level Up Lauren. Go ahead and ring the final bell.
Ding, ding,